run by me, Ethan, and supported by ACHEV and NexYouth. Right. A little bit about myself. I'm going to grade 11 in September. I'm an internationally recognized youth public speaker, and I love music actually. It's a fun fact about myself. I play clarinet, bass clarinet, piano. I just spend my free time public speaking, debating, doing music. I like trail running occasionally, this sort of thing. I'm also the president of the NexYouth Oakville chapter. So we're a youth organization that has chapters in Markham, Toronto, Richmond Hill, Oakville. So right here, I'm the one that does sort of like the main organization over here. I'm the one who's like behind this specific summer camp, this specific seminar program. Yeah, a little bit about our organization. We're an organization, nonprofit organization, founded in 2023 by high school students. I have a friend who's one of the co-founders of this organization who might pop by here in a couple minutes. We have partnerships with schools, community organizations like this one. We run like seminars like this across the GTA, this one in particular, as well as other ones in Markham and Toronto, where we do public speaking and debate and STEM courses, environmental challenges, etc. And yeah, we've reached over 800 students and people like you who are looking to start a great life in Canada, and that's sort of what we do here. Okay, obviously you're the only one here, but if you want to, you can like tell me your name, public speaking experience, and like one interesting fact about yourself. So what you do for work, for example, or something you like to do for fun.
Me?
Yeah.
My name is Neha.
Okay.
And I don't have any public speaking experience in English. And I am a registered nurse in Ontario. So yeah.
Well, Neha, right?
Yes.
All right. That's a good way to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Okay, Neha.
Neha.
Okay. Start with a question, right? What is public speaking and why is it important? What do you think about this?
Yeah, it's public speaking. It's very important because I don't have a public experience in English, but it's verbal communication, non-verbal. For example, verbal communication, non-verbal communication. It's very important in healthcare setting.
Yeah.
It's help patient cure and best communication in family and their and patients and their relatives. So it's very important.
Yeah, I think it's very important to be able to talk with people and sort of establish a connection that way. To like, when you do public speaking, you appear more confident, right? You appear like you know what you're talking about. I think that helps build rapport with your patients, for example. Or, oh, someone else? Oh, that's my friend. Yeah. Yeah. This is Max. He's one of the co-founders of our organization. He's just popping by here to like see what's going on.
So we're trying to call them, but you can maybe start.
Yeah, we started.
Yeah, because why punish the person that came on time?
It's
right?
nice. It's nice.
So we are calling the client and seeing what's going on, and
Sure.
then we'll let them in. Okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Yeah, I mean, public speaking, I think is just a good skill to have because it helps you build your confidence and build your sort of credibility as a person, especially when you're able to explain what you want to explain to other people more coherently because you're able to sound more confident and all that. This is a 5-day seminar, obviously, so this day was meant to be just a quick summary of what we go over each day. Each of these concepts is like a half-day seminar or a 1-day seminar about like speech organization, body language, eye contact, audience engagement, and visual aids. But like right now, I want to give a quick summary as to what each of these things are. So speech organization, obviously there are multiple types of speeches you can give. You can persuade someone to do something using a persuasive speech. You can inform people of certain topics you want them to learn about. You can give a speech at a wedding, for example, at a graduation ceremony, at a funeral. These are all like event speeches that might be different from like speeches where you persuade or inform. They're just speeches where you celebrate things that have happened or mourn things that have happened. Within these sorts of speeches, normally there's an introduction where you sort of introduce yourself and your topic and what you want to talk about in your body paragraph. So if you've written like an essay before, some sort of paragraph, you'll know at the top you'll want to introduce the topic and your thesis per se. And then you'll have like body paragraphs, which will vary based on the type of speech you're doing, but they'll normally be like different points per topic. So for example, if you want to give a speech about like telling people about what apples are, as an example, your intro might be like, we're gonna talk about apples today, and then your body paragraphs might be like, apples are good, apples are nice foods for your pets, apples are very healthy fruits to eat on like certain days per week, right? And those will be 3 different topics that you have in your speech as your body paragraphs. And each body paragraph would explain what you want to say as the topic of your body paragraph. So if you want your body paragraph to be about why apples are good foods for pets, you might bring up evidence or like statistics that prove that pets benefit by eating apples. Body language, you can see I'm using lots of hand gestures and like looking at you and trying to appear like I'm establishing a connection between you, even though I'm over here and you're over there. Sorry, so that's what body language is about, right? It's appearing that you're sort of filling space in the room. You can walk around slightly to appear like you're more confident in what you're saying, and these are all skills that you'll pick up the more you become comfortable with public speaking and talking with a presentation or to an audience. Eye contact, obviously as well, like looking at people helps build like connection between them. Of course, it's only you attending this seminar, but if there were more people, I would say like, for example, I look at both sides of the room evenly to make sure that no one feels left out by my gaze, because you want to make sure everyone feels like equally blessed by your your presentation look, because that makes everyone feel connected, right? That's why eye contact is important. Audience engagement. You'll notice at the start I asked you a question, right? I asked you to think about something in my presentation. I think those sorts of questions are also very good as a general skill in public speaking, whether you're doing it casually to your patients or doing it to like a large crowd or a smaller crowd, like doing a seminar, doing some sort of TED Talk, etc. Being able to ask questions and being able to convince the audience to think about things while you talk or during your speech, during your seminar, helps them connect better with the information you're delivering. Because once you are asked to think about public speaking and what it means to you, you're able to like relate it to your life, like you said, relate it to what you do for work, relate it to the experiences that you've had, and I think that helps audiences generally understand what they're trying to convey more deeply, because they're actively thinking, actively responding to questions. And if you like continue doing public speaking, then you might find that prompting your audience to ask questions in this way, or respond to questions, or think about things will help them retain more of what you say in the end. Finally, visual aids. This slideshow is a good example of a visual aid. It doesn't need to be very like extremely complicated, extremely good looking, but just having some sort of slideshow, having some sort of graph to rely on, some sort of like even whiteboard where you write things on the whiteboard helps people link back to what you want to say. Because if you ever get lost in what I'm saying, you can look here to quickly see at what's going to come next in the presentation, what I'm currently talking about. So I think in lots of situations, having visual aids like slideshows does help a lot with conveying the information you want to say when you do public speaking. Yeah. Obviously, these slides are sort of further explaining what I wanted to say, but speech organization, generally, like I said, it's going to be somewhat similar to an essay, although if you have speeches that aren't persuasive or informative necessarily, like a speech about someone's graduation or someone's marriage, you'll likely structure your speech differently, because you want to have an intro still, but you might your body paragraphs might be more, might be less, and they'll certainly be about events or personal stories that you'll have to tell instead of different body paragraphs with points. I think this is like a general structure to practice for public speaking though, because it's like a very natural format that comes to people, I think. Like naturally you'll want to write a broad topic, and then within this broad topic, you'll always have different things to say, very different varied things to say, and those become your body paragraphs. So if, like whether or not you come to sessions in this week, like if you want to just, this session today will be about the things you could practice in the future, that we will practice together of course, but even if you decide not to like come to certain sessions because of other reasons, you'll still have the information you need to be able to improve. So that's why. Like obviously body language and eye contact, like you want to look at the audience, you want to use hand gestures, and you want to use different hand gestures, because you'll notice that I'm not just only doing this and this over and over again. You also want to like do this, like if you want to do a big movement, if you want to count 1, 2, 3 as you list your points, these are all good ways to use body language. Yes.
Can you go back a slide?
Sure.
On the structure point, in psychology, it's a lot easier for people to remember things that occur 3 times. And Steve Jobs, when he's presenting, he follows this rule of 3. Like every speech that he gives, every presentation, there's 3 core points, right? I think for the iPhone announcement, he was announcing the 3 features. It's an internet explorer, it's a communicator, it's a music player. Those 3 is easier to remember because naturally that 3 is what we gravitate towards. So that's another reason for this structure.
3 body paragraphs, 3 reasons for why something is true, 3 adjectives you use to describe something, 3 words in your intro that describe your speech. These are all like rules of 3 that you can implement into your speeches, or like even the way you just talk to people. And when you want to build rapport with them, using 3s will help them remember what you want to say more. Yeah.
It's also why GPT uses rules of 3 so much. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Let's talk about audience engagement, because I did mention that you want to ask questions, but other ways you can sort of encourage the audience to think about what you want to say are these phrases or other phrases similar to them. So you could be like, raise your hand if you've experienced this in your life, if you think X about Y. So I don't know, raise your hand if you had a pet before, and I would raise my hand and he would, have you ever had a pet? Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing. Consider this, and then you'll give some statement. Consider this, cats are better than dogs. And then your audience, you pause slightly while your audience thinks about that, and then once they've thought about it and they might have some things to say, you can continue. Especially because most public speaking settings are like meetings, right? They're like, you talk with your patients, you talk like 1-on-1, 1-on-2, 1-on-3. So they'll obviously have opportunities to say things, and that's why like giving them more opportunity to sort of think about what you want them to say, and then they say those things themselves, that also helps them remember what you want to to come out of that interaction more easily. Visual aids, like besides slideshows, there are also props. So if you want to, for example, talk about a certain item or a certain procedure or a certain piece of equipment, you might want to bring that piece of equipment with you when you give a presentation, when you talk to people, to help them know what it is. You can describe each part of it, what it does, what it's used for, etc. I think having like a visual object helps people gravitate towards a certain thing that you have, and makes it easier for them to concentrate on what you're saying. Because otherwise, for example, if I didn't have this slideshow, it'd be harder for you to follow me because you're just like listening to me talk. Whereas here, even if you don't catch every single word that I say, most of the most important key points will be on the slideshow, so you can still follow along at your own pace, right? I think it is important though not to rely too much on your visual aids. If your slideshow is like only words, I think it's like slightly distracting, because obviously when you're public speaking, you want people to listen to you and your public speaking and not just read off the slide, because if they're just reading everything off the slide, then what are you here to explain, right? That's why on my slideshow you'll notice that there's only really key points here. There's a few words that describe, it's a relatively minimalist slide. So it's there for you to catch up, but it's not there for you to replace my talk, because I obviously have more things to share besides what's only on here. And that's why it complements your speaking. It doesn't replace your public speaking, right? Yeah. Also, they should be like broadly relevant and not distracting. Just make sure that what you put on your prop and the way you use your props adds towards your presentation and doesn't take away with it. So for example, if you move on to a section when your prop is no longer necessary, it might be a good idea to put it away, because you want your prop to always complement your public speaking. Like I said, you don't want it to take away from what you're saying, because it's ultimately there to help the audience understand. Yeah, now we have some public speaking activities that you can do. Obviously with only one person, this session might run a little short, but yeah. Here, I have one prepared, the elevator pitch. Imagine if you're in an elevator with someone, so you're in an elevator with us two, and you have 2 minutes to describe who you are and advertise a service to us. So for example, if I was to do this right now, I would be like, hello, I'm Ethan, it's so glad to meet you for the first time. I'm a professional entrepreneur. I'm a public speaker, I'm an inspirational speaker, and I help kids across the world change their lives with my words. Let me describe in 3 ways what I do for you and why you're able to benefit from my service. And then I would describe, for example, number 1, I've given talks across the country, I've won many awards for the inspirational things I say, and I think that because many people receive my speeches so well when I talk about like the guilt of life, when I talk about moving forward, when I talk about perseverance and all these topics that are useful to youth and adults across the world, that I think you would also benefit from this service, because I'm able to deliver it to you personally through this elevator pitch, and you're able to be convinced and change your life the way that I've changed so many other lives, right? This is of course an example. I am not an internationally recognized motivational speaker, but I'm sure you have great achievements, and this is your opportunity to share them to me, theoretically. I could say secondly then that I do online courses. I do one-on-one tutoring, sort of like life mentorship courses, and those can also benefit you because, I don't know, maybe you have certain things in your life that you want to improve. Maybe you want to get really strong. Maybe you want to develop your confidence through public speaking. And besides my like broad, massive seminars, you might want to have some individual time with me as your mentor to try to like work through your problems and become a much more well-rounded person. Finally, I might just talk about why I'm like a nice, personable salesman. I'm very good at like advertising my products to you, and if you ever have any products you want to advertise, if you want to sell your medical equipment, if you want to sell your medical services, you can always come to me. Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Sony.
Sony.
Yes, yes.
Was that correct?
That's
A
right.
Sony.
Yes. Sir.
Okay. Yeah, we're just going through a public speaking activity right
Okay,
now.
okay,
If you want, I can go back through
No,
the slides
no.
afterwards.
Continue.
Yeah, so essentially this activity is like, imagine you're in an elevator with us four, and you're trying to like advertise yourself, explain who you are, and describe different things about your traits and your successes that will make us want to sort of buy a product for you.
Mm.
So as I was saying, I like, for example, if I did this, I'd be like, hello, my name's Ethan. I'm so glad to meet you all for the first time, and I'm an inspirational public speaker. I'm a motivational speaker. I've been doing this across the world. I have not been doing this across the world, obviously, but let's say I was doing it across the world. I'd be like, I've held talks in 30 plus countries, and here are 3 reasons why you should invest in my new course, invest in attending one of my talks, invest in me as a person even. And then, like I said, my first reason might be, oh, I've given so many talks, I've changed so many lives. Here are some personal statements from people that I make up, of course, but personal statements from people who are like, wow, Ethan, you changed my life with your talk about perseverance, about moving forward in life, about finding your passion. And these are like, that's one reason why you should sort of invest in this theoretical product. The second one might be, I do lots of like online seminars. So even if you're like not learning that much, or you don't find that much value in really big public seminars, you might find value in like one-on-one life mentorship with me, which of course doesn't exist. But if you like wanted to do this, I'd be like, oh, you should take my life mentorship course, because I'll be able to teach you things or like help you improve your life and become a more well-rounded person. Maybe you struggle with confidence for one specific reason, and if you don't feel comfortable sharing that at like a seminar, for example, you can come to me personally, use my personal services to be able to, so we can work this issue over together, right? And then finally, I might just be like, I'm a very like personable salesman, and because I'm able to sell myself to you in this way, maybe I'll be able to help you sell your services to other people. You can hire me for a very low rate to sell whatever you want to sell to other people. Maybe you want to sell some medical equipment. Maybe you want to sell your services to other people. So that's where I come in, right? I'll be able to look at what you want to sell, and I'll be able to turn it into a brand product that you'll be able to like find success with. And that's why you should invest in me. That's why you should spend a little of your money on my services to be able to improve both of our lives, right? That's the point of this elevator pitch. Yeah. If you guys want to do it, you can like just stand up or sit down and just like try this. Or
Okay.
if not, like Max can try to give this. And you
I
can,
can
like,
try.
Sure.
Okay, let me think. I will do public speaking because that's what you just did.
Yeah.
How about, okay. I think the single most important thing you can do if you want to scale yourself and scale your brand is market online, especially since the internet has become a source of so much information and so much connection. It is pivotal that if you want to be successful in life, if you want to scale your business or scale your personal brand, you need to be able to explore that. And that's the service that I'm willing to offer. I want to offer to you guys. My name is Max, and here's 3 reasons why I feel like not only could you benefit from having a personal brand, having a marketing coach, but also benefit from having me personally as that. First is I'm very well experienced in this. I've made several videos, scaled my channel to over 3,000 subscribers, had a few videos go over a million, have millions of views. Second, I'm really good at networking. I've talked to some of the most successful people in the field that I'm personally most interested in, which is space tech. I've met vice presidents at companies like Astranis and such, just through networking, through connections, through cold emailing, and this shows that it doesn't really take anything. All you gotta do is send out enough emails and you can get the opportunity of a lifetime potentially, and there's literally no cost. And third and finally is I'm just willing to take risks and put in the effort for it. It is that all the opportunities there, you just have to be willing to get it, and I feel like a lot of people aren't. And because if you are willing, you have that advantage. You can easily win. You can easily become successful in life. And so yeah, that's why I think you guys should hire me or my service as a personal marketer.
Yeah. Now either of you can choose to go if you want.
Okay, you wanna go?
You.
Okay, okay. My name is Asani, and I definitely think that I have a wide range of experience in services, in customer service, hospitality. I am into catering, so this is why I think that, you know, for any events coming up, you should hire my services. I can do a variety of things, from setting up the event to offering my culinary skills, which I have studied for. I have great experiences from doing weddings, birthday parties. Also, I have done anniversaries, and I've done Christmas parties as well. So I have various years of experience. So this is why I think that, you know, my services would be well accepted and well appreciated. At the end of each event, I make sure I get reviews as well. So I use those reviews to make my my business and my experience more successful in future endeavors.
Amazing. I would love to try your catering.
Yeah, thank you.
You've convinced me to
Yeah.
try your service. Wow.
Lovely.
Truly incredible.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I've been doing for a while now. But I think that I need to try to engage more. That's my issue.
Right,
So with the new times, everybody is word of mouth,
right.
and you know, I find a lot of people that are out there, they go by what their friends
Yes.
have, you know. So I definitely need to try and put myself out there more and engage.
Like establish yourself. Right?
Yeah,
establish the connections.
Yes.
Be able to talk to
yes.
people and get you into that word of mouth.
That's
so
right.
when their friends recommend people to go eat, they'll recommend your service,
Yes.
which I'm sure is wonderful.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
This seminar does run Monday to Friday, and I was mentioning earlier that if you come Tuesday to Friday, I'll go way more in depth into each of the topics that I was talking about. So
Okay.
Sure, the
yeah,
topics
right,
are-
right. Yes, this is true. So like this is a brief summary of what we are going to go through this week, but essentially tomorrow, for example, I'll go over a lot how to write a speech, the different types of speeches, and like the way you want to deliver your speech, how you want it to be heard in a way that's the most coherent for the audience and the way that they're able to like receive the most information. I'm not sure if you were there, but Max did mention earlier the rule of threes. So normally people gravitate towards things in threes. Steve Jobs, like Max says, uses threes always when he presents. Like in his iPhone ad, he said like there's 3 features that we add. We have Internet Explorer, we have
communication.
music. And we have music, right? The 3 things that you'll remember.
Yes.
I think this 3 is a lot like more perfect than the 2 or the 4, and many studies have proven that people tend to latch onto 3s. So you might hear speeches be like 3 adjectives to describe something, 3 body paragraphs. You'll have 3 reasons why something is true. You'll have 3 reasons to invest in my product right now. You'll have 3 statements to prove that I am trustworthy, etc. And like, one of the things that you'll learn tomorrow is how to incorporate like this rule of 3s into the way you give your speeches or the way you structure your speeches. So you might want to say 3 things in your introduction. You might want to have 3 separate points, not necessarily 3 body paragraphs, but you want to have 3 separate things the audience needs to remember. And then in your conclusion, you might mention 3 things that the audience should take away from your speech that might be similar or different to like what you mentioned in your body paragraphs, right?
Okay.
And then on Wednesday, there'll be a seminar about body language and eye contact. So obviously I'm looking at you, I'm blessing you with my gaze to make you feel connected,
Yes.
even though I'm standing over here and you're
Yeah.
standing over there. I think having an open body language, using like hand gestures like I'm doing right now, or at least trying to do right now, for you guys, is very important to make you seem approachable, make you seem like a likable public speaker, and it helps the audience relate with you more. Because, like I said, even this seminar was supposed to be bigger, but yeah, like if there were lots of people in the room, I would say like I can look at every person to make sure no one feels excluded from my gaze and my body language, make you all feel like we're part of one big like public speaking community where you're all gonna want to listen close to what I have to say and want to listen to whatever services I have to provide, whatever I want to convince you of, whatever like things I want to inform you of, for example. And these are having very strong body language, perhaps like walking around the room to talk more closely to each of you. Like if I wanted to give an example or talk specifically to Max, I'd be like, Max, what do you think about, right? You can walk towards people, you can walk back to establish like closer or further sort of rapport with people. And that's what we're gonna learn on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, I am planning to do a seminar on audience engagement and visual aids. So by audience engagement, I think if we go to this slide, it might explain it better. Audience engagement is a certain like specific important public speaking technique about making the audience connect with you, not just visually using body language, but also using the words in your speech. So for example, if you want to advertise a certain food or advertise a new product that you want to sell, you'd be like, have you ever tried this before, to your audience? And they might have to think about that, right? They'll be like, oh, have I tried this delicious food before? Have I tried similar food in the past? Yes or no? And they might respond, be like, oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have tried your food before, or yes, I have tried similar food to your products before, or they might be like, no, I haven't. But either way, this process of thinking about what food or what products or whether or not they've experienced it before, or some other opinion that you might ask them to like relay, or like raise your hand if you believe in XYZ, raise your hand if you think cats are better than dogs. These sort of small audience engagement questions help your audience think about what you're saying, helps them understand it better, obviously, because if you're just listening to me talk versus actively having to consider your opinion, integrate your experiences and your thoughts into my presentation, that helps you latch on much better to what I am saying and what I will say. Because obviously, if you're just like zoning out and listening to me drone on and on in a very monotone way about public speaking, versus if I like talk with a natural rhythm, I stop, I ask you to think about certain things, I ask you to raise your hand if you've had certain experiences, I ask you to, for example, like count to 3, close your eyes and count to 3 with me to imagine a scenario that you will talk about where it's like life is great and you can, you know, eat my delicious food and you'll be happy forever. Yeah, these are all ways you can engage the audience, and I think they're very important to include in your presentations or your talks, or just like interacting with people. I think it's nice to use this technique.
Okay, lovely.
There will also be a seminar on how to make visual aids. So this is a visual aid, of course. I think there's a certain way that you should design your slideshow that might like differ from conventional slideshow design. I personally don't believe in putting very like eye-catching visuals on your slideshow if you're trying to like mainly talk about your issues or mainly talk about your content, because your slideshow should ultimately only be there, not only, but primarily be there to recenter the audience. So if you don't catch every word that I'm explaining to you verbally, you'll still be able to see on the slideshow, or see on the slideshow here, of course, what exactly is going to happen in the presentation, what exactly is happening right now. So even if I just like stop talking, you'll know that this current section of my presentation is about slideshows. Because I mentioned slideshows, you might have caught on to the word slideshows, even if you understood nothing else. And so this slideshow can help recenter you. I think what's sort of like negative about certain slideshows that we'll talk about more in later days is that some slideshows are very cluttered with images that seem unrelated. Certain slideshows are very cluttered with words, where you might have a script, and that's natural, of course, to have a script. Nothing wrong with writing out your speech, especially if you need to give a very long presentation. But if your speech is entirely on your slideshow, I think that sort of defeats the purpose of you being there. Because you're a great communicator, you all have good potential to become great communicators, or you already are. I believe in all of you. But if you don't believe in yourself and you allow the audience to just read your speech or read your presentation off the slide, I think that defeats the purpose, because obviously you want them to listen to you. You're the one with the ideas. The slideshow doesn't have any ideas on what you want to say, you do. And so when you have all your text here, the audience just reads off the slide and they don't listen to you. And ultimately, like, they come here to listen to your ideas, not the slideshow. So I think keeping minimalist slideshows with only basic guidelines is a decent way, one way to make slideshows. Yes.
On that script point, you'll notice I'm pretty sure he didn't script this entire presentation.
I don't.
Or seminar thus far, and the way he's able to is two reasons. First, he knows this topic a lot. He's a debater. He's also a public speaker, and he's been teaching for a while now. So, and frankly, this is true for any topic that, like for example, catering. If you were to give a speech at a catering event about your services and your experiences, I'm most likely it'd be pretty easy for you because it's a topic that you have years of experience already with. But it's also practice, right? You have the words there, you have the knowledge there. It's being able to communicate it properly, and that is what Ethan's here to teach you today. It's like, or over the course of this week.
Over the course of this week,
So
of course.
you'll feel like most people gravitate towards writing out their entire script. But if you're giving speeches, or if you're using public speaking in settings, in environments, and on topics that you already are familiar with, that you already know really well, frankly, a script isn't that necessary. And learning to walk away from that crutch is like one of the largest leaps in public speaking that can help you go from someone who's more timid and just be someone who's confident and is able to communicate themselves basically every day, everywhere.
Yeah, I think adding on to what Max says, I think physically having a script in your mind actually limits you, because obviously when you're up here, you might want to think of different things to say. You might have unexpected circumstances. For example, when you arrive in the room, if I have a script, I'm not sure what I want to say, because I'm sure that you'll have interesting things to learn that I've already mentioned in previous minutes of this presentation. But with this script, I won't really be as easily able to just modify my train of thought and go back and explain certain things smoothly without having to seem like I'm interrupting myself, going back on a sheet of paper and then trying to re-explain things, right? Of course, this entire presentation is not scripted, and I had to practice a lot of public speaking to do this. I've been doing this for many years, even though I'm not like an internationally acclaimed motivational speaker like I pretended to be for you guys. But yeah, just like being able to give presentations with only a few dot jots, like this slideshow, or on a cue card, for example, you would have a piece of paper, a small piece of paper with each topic, each body paragraph outlined. So for example, if you want to talk about different foods you're catering, you might not want to write an entire script describing exactly what you want to say, but you might want to put the name of each food so you know when to recenter yourself, when to move on, or what specific things you want to talk about. If you want to talk about your medical services, different places where you work, different patients you've worked with, you might want to put their names on a cue card, their medical histories, but not like in full detail, because obviously you know your patients, you know who you work with. And so if you have small guidelines, I think even like relatively inexperienced public speakers and English learners will be able to give compelling speeches, because the absence of having a script itself is what will propel you, to be able to give better and better speeches. The last day of our presentation, or this seminar, is going to be about speech giving. It'll be like where you guys try to give a 3-minute speech, or not try to, succeed in giving a 3-minute speech to us and to me, and I'll give you some feedback on what I think is great about your speech and what I think is could be improved and has potential, right? Extraneously, I might also go through a few things like the way you talk, how to eliminate filler words. I think specifically on the topic of filler words and speech mannerisms, it's not that bad, right? You'll notice when I talk, even I have speech mannerisms. They are just things that you do, and it's okay, but it's more important, I would say, to establish a certain air of confidence. So even if you make certain mistakes, even if you aren't completely sure of what you want to say, if you're able to establish a certain confidence in yourself, and the audience has confidence in you, if you just slip the word "like" in there by accident, like I just did, it's fine, because no one really notices. They'll still notice your presence in the room as someone that is confident, someone who has information to share, and someone who is able to talk about what they want to talk about, even though they're not completely perfect, completely robotic public speakers. There'll be other things like the way you pace, your tone of voice, for example, certain specific hand gestures that might be useful for you to use. Perhaps how to walk around the room, just small things that you might want to pick up on that aren't necessarily as core or important to the process of public speaking as the first few days of this seminar, where it's visual aids. Obviously you will need to make slideshows in your life. You will need to bring props to presentations. You might want to For example, if you're talking about a dish, giving a presentation on a dish, you might want to cook that dish and then bring it with you to show the audience, show the people you're advertising to. Like, oh, this great food is what you could be having if you subscribe to my service, right? That sort of thing. You might want to bring like graphs or infographics. So these few days of like body language, eye contact, the way you structure your speeches, these are all very important. But on the 5th day, I think it's like also worth coming to practice and also to learn like some other cool niche things about public speaking that might not come as obviously to you, right? Yeah. Okay, do you want to do the public speaking activity now? Remember this? Like the
Yes.
elevator pitch? Sure. Whenever you're ready.
My name is Neha, and I'm a registered nurse.
Okay.
And I don't know how to.
Take your time. Just think about like, right? Because we're not here to judge you. We're just here to encourage you to speak publicly. So you can talk
Yeah.
about anything. You
Because
can say,
it's my biggest fear in
Yeah.
public speak. So.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Right. So this is a healthy and learning environment. That's why we're all here.
I want to give a health education to my patient and their family, and communicate in a healthy way.
Right.
And it's very important to know about speaking and how to speak professionally.
Right.
So yeah, that's all.
Okay. Because you want your patients to be able to relate with you, right? Like, are you
Yeah.
worried your patients might not understand what you're trying to say, or might not like remember as much of it if you're not like a good public speaker? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's that's one reason why.
Yeah.
I do think like even this seminar will be able to help you improve
Yeah,
your skills a
I
lot.
hope.
Like, yeah, hopefully, right? Well, yeah, because I have faith in my abilities. I hope you guys have faith in my abilities to convey this information. Like, hopefully, I don't come off as like a really big snake oil salesman, a fraud, where I'm just like extolling my slideshow, my techniques. Yeah, hopefully you find this useful. You will find this useful. Yes.
I mean, just on your fear point, I want to share a really quick personal anecdote, specifically with my mom. She's a first-generation immigrant, and like for the first 10 years here, she didn't talk to anybody because she was at home taking care of my brother while my dad worked. And then she's a salesman now, so she definitely leaps in that. She learned English and stuff. But her story that she told me, she tells me this all the time. In the first month that she started as a salesman, like on the bus, she'd sit next to somebody or on the subway, and she'd just try to say hi to them, and she would be shaking the entire time. And it took her months of that, and every single day she was terrified. But it really takes time, and I'm sure you guys already have start a lot more further ahead than she did. But she was able just to because she practiced so much, because she persevered, and it just shows that if you do put in the effort, it's going to be very easy. And frankly, if you have friends that you talk to or family that you talk to, the way you talk to them and the way you communicate with them is really natural. It probably is really easy because you're comfortable with them.
Yeah.
So really, all that public speaking is not learning some magical new trait. It's expanding your comfort zone. So the way you talk to your family, the way you talk to your friends is also the way you talk to strangers or customers or clients and stuff, or maybe patients. So that's basically all that public speaking is.
Yeah, for example, like I might sound confident to you, but obviously even here I feel slightly nervous because it's natural to feel nervous and uncomfortable giving speeches to people, whether it's like 3 people like this or 1 million people at a really big convention as the president of the country, right? Like, no matter what it is, there'll always be a certain rub about having to explain yourself to such a large group of people that you know are judging you for every mistake you might make. But it's practice that will get you to hello, public speaking, right? Yeah, it's the practice that will get you to where you need to be, and you can start this practice by just talking, like Max said, talking to people on the bus, saying hi to strangers, just like going into uncomfortable public speaking related scenarios that'll help you to build this confidence talking to others where they might judge you, but ultimately, like, I'm sure you all don't think that negatively of my speaking so far. Like, this has been a hopefully productive seminar for you all so far, and that's sort of what you want to build eventually, right? You want to, even if you aren't fully sure of yourself, even if you still feel nervous, feeling nervous is natural, and the process of public speaking isn't going to eliminate that fear. It's just going to make you feel more comfortable talking through that, being able to feel that even if you aren't like 100% sure of what you want to say in the next few sentences, the audience, all of you, will feel sure that I have something worth saying in the next 2 sentences, and that's what this is about, right? Public speaking. Hello. Public speaking seminar, right? We've already gone through the different elements of public speaking and like what is going to happen in this seminar. This seminar is 5 days, so Monday to Friday. It is scheduled 9 to 11, but of course we can end earlier if like not that many people attend. That's fine. Let me go quickly back to the slide where we explain what exactly this seminar is about. Each day in this seminar, there will be certain topics that I go through that I think will help you all develop as public speakers. So this first day is essentially a summary, a quick brief summary of what exactly I want to discuss with you guys in the coming days. But for example, tomorrow I'll teach you guys how to organize a speech, like I've said, how to build a speech using introduction and then like the rule of threes. So for example, you might want 3 body paragraphs, 3 adjectives to describe your speech, and then a conclusion that you might want to add. So that's one thing that you'll learn in the coming days. You'll also learn how to use body language and eye contact. So obviously I'm looking at you to make it feel like you're with me and you're my ally, even though you're right over there and I'm all the way over here, right? I might like walk towards Max or walk towards you to ask you a specific question in the presentation. And that's also a part of like eye contact, body language, hand gestures, the way I face towards you with my body, that all help you feel like I'm more inviting and more like willing to listen to you than perhaps even I actually am, right? It's like being able to pretend in one way is a big part of public speaking. Because again, even if you are nervous, being able to pretend like you aren't and being able to give the illusion that you have great things to say and you're always confident in what you want to say is a very important part of this art that you will all find great value in learning when you give your speeches, when you give presentations, when you give meetings and that sort of thing. The 4th day is about audience engagement and visual aids. So an example I used earlier in this seminar is if you want to ask your audience, like raise your hand if you think X is Y. Raise your hand if you think cats are better than dogs. Raise your hand if you think my service would benefit you or you've used similar services in the past. Raise your hand if, or consider this, and then you give an opinion about a subject, right? Close your eyes for 3 seconds and imagine a certain like imagery I'm like going to explain to you. Close your eyes and imagine a world where you can eat my delicious food, where you'll be able to live safe and happy and healthy because of my nursing services. And that way you're able to help your audience not just listen to you talk over and over again, but also engage with the specific points of information that you want them to remember most saliently, because you're asking them questions, you're making them think about these things, and that's what's going to help the audience like stick these things in their mind. Also visual aids, so of course this slideshow is a visual aid, and I'll talk about how I think slideshows should be made, even though of course there are many different approaches to making slideshows and props and like the way you present different visual aids when you speak. I think of course that like given the structure of this slideshow, I'm sure you all think that I am a minimalist when I make slideshows. I don't like to put a lot of words in my slideshows. I think it detracts from the way that you give your speeches, but of course you'll learn more about this on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On Friday, I said this earlier, but I'm hoping there will be an opportunity for you all to sort of like quickly prepare a short 2 to 3 minute speech about a topic I'll put up, and then you can give this speech. And then we'll give you feedback. We as a supportive community, of course, will give you feedback on your speaking, tell you the great things you do, give you some points of improvement. And of course, remember that if you're nervous, it's fine, because we're all going to be nervous. We all start out super nervous, and this seminar is about sort of the first steps towards building public speaking and building your confidence. I'm also planning to cover some basic extraneous things. So for example, like filler words, which I don't think are actually that detrimental to your speaking, because you'll notice when I speak, I stutter sometimes, I use filler words, and that's fine, because what matters more is the way that you convey yourself. So even if you use like filler words occasionally, even if you aren't like the perfect robotic, godlike public speaker, it's fine, because as long as you're able to convey that I have something useful to say that you might benefit from, you guys might feel, hopefully, that I am like someone who has decently useful things to say. That's what matters when you give presentations. You want the audience to feel comfortable even if you're not fully comfortable, right? I'll also go over like the use of pauses, the way that you emphasize certain words for dramatic effect so that you remember them more clearly. And I'll also go through, for example, when or how you want to walk across the rooms, like small things that I think might be useful, but not nearly as core to the process of public speaking as these big ones. We were just doing an exercise, public speaking activity, an elevator pitch. So essentially, like imagine you're in an elevator with us and you have to pitch a service about yourself, like introduce yourself and then explain a certain thing about yourself that you want us to invest in. So the example that I gave was my inspirational speaking, for example. Let's say, like hypothetically, I was a globally acclaimed motivational speaker, and then for 2 minutes I would say, hello, I'm Ethan. It is so wonderful to be able to meet you wonderful, fine people, and I am, ecstatic to be able to describe my public speaking services to you. First of all, I am a internationally acclaimed motivational speaker. I've changed so many lives in these many countries, and here are some reviews from people who have attended my speeches that prove that I am, changing lives. Here's one that says, oh my God, Ethan, you helped me persevere through my life challenges with your speech. You've helped me in ways that you would never imagine. And then I might say, oh, but besides my motivational speaking, I have personal one-on-one seminars with you. So maybe you have issues, maybe you have certain quirks or certain personal reasons why you're not confident, that you're not willing to discuss in like an open forum setting. I have one-on-one life coaching that you can discuss this with me, and we can help you become a great person or like a more well-rounded person. And that's a hypothetical, of course, second thing I could discuss with you. Finally, I said I did say that, oh, I'm a great salesman. I can help you sell anything you want. If you have a service and you need me to advertise for you and get people to go and invest or try out your great product, I'll be there for you. I'll be there on the street being like, come and listen to the beautiful food that you have cooked. Come and listen to me talk about the beautiful, wonderful, healthful services that you provide to your patients. And that's sort of like what I do. And hopefully you'll be able to invest in my product, right? And so that's what this exercise is about. I just want you to practice public speaking by offering a small part of yourself and trying to sell it to us in that way. So if you're comfortable, you can just try.
Of course.
Sure.
Thank you. First, thank you very much. Ethan? Is your name?
Ethan, yes.
Ethan. Okay. Oh, congratulations. I want to be like you someday. Yeah, it's amazing.
You will.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I effort very much. Well, thank you very much. I am Lisa Betancourt. I am here because I really want to improve my public communication skills. And what I do is to help different organizations to improve their security posture, information security posture. I'm an information security specialist, and I really like to help those different organizations improving their services and their different products to enhance the client's experience with more secure services, but at the same time reliance and adding value to those different customers. Also, I am a very passionate person about communication skills, and I really know that's very important here as a ESL person and also as a newcomer here in Canada. That's why I really try to improve and learn. And when I saw this wonderful opportunity, I arranged my calendar to be here and try to take the most of this wonderful experience. And I am so glad to see you and the way you do. I'm so inspired, and you really do well. Congratulations. Thanks very much.
That was great. I am certainly glad that you enjoyed my presentation, because obviously even I don't feel like fully confident in what I have to say, because even after years of doing this, it's natural for you to feel like you don't really know what you want to say next, because of course this is not like fully scripted. I have ideas of what I want to say on each slide, but I don't have like a complete script of what exactly needs to be said. So there will be moments where you might feel that I'm just like slightly lengthening like this talking while I try to find next things to say. But pausing, using filler words, trying to like seek the next idea you want to pull out of your brain, these are all okay. I hope that's like clear. If you learn only one thing from this seminar or these 5 days of seminars, it's just like public speaking should be what you're comfortable with. So there'll be certain things about your talking that you might not feel fully like confident, or you might not fully embrace. For example, you might not like your accent, you might not like the tone of your voice when you talk. But these things are all okay. They're all like, ultimately you are who you are, and as long as you can portray a certain attitude of like, I have things to say, I have like a certain experience in this topic, and you should listen to me because I am a good person that will be able to benefit you and benefit all of you and teach you important things in one way or another. That's what you should take away from this, right? Just being able to convey yourself and convey your ideas in ways that others will actually listen to you. Because the worst feeling in the world is when you give presentations, you like poured your heart out to describe things you're passionate about, and no one listens, no one cares, no one appears to believe what you're saying. We want to fix that. We all want to feel heard, and that's what public speaking is about. Using techniques to make you feel heard, because fundamentally, being perfect is not the goal. The goal is simply to be able to feel that others are listening to what you have to say, and they have conviction, the same conviction that you have in yourself, that you are, smart, you have experience, you have good things to teach others. I have good things to teach you. Hopefully you all believe that. And like, this should apply to your lives eventually when you practice these skills, both here and, on the bus, when you talk to people, when you talk to your family members, when you attend meetings, when you talk to patients, when you talk to customers. These skills are things that you should try to practice, try to become more confident, try to just like establish yourself in a certain way that might help you change the way that you interact with others, how might change the way that you sort of are perceived. And that's what public speaking is about. I hope you all like remember that fact. There's one more activity here. This one's a little more fun. Hot air balloon. This was actually the first ever public speaking activity that I did all the way back when I was in elementary school. So I like remember this one quite fondly. It's pretty silly, but essentially, like, let's say we're all on a hot air balloon and suddenly it's sinking, right? There's not enough air in the top and it's like falling down towards the ground. Now, we can all end up safe and unharmed, but currently the weight is too heavy. And we need to throw one person overboard to be able to like save the other 4, right? So this activity is essentially, you have 1 minute to quickly, again, pitch something about yourself, but in a different context. You're not trying to like pitch a service to others now. You're pitching a reason as to why you should stay on the balloon and stay alive to be able to make it to the ground safely. So for example, if I was to do this, I'd be like, listen guys, you need to keep me alive. I have great skills that can help you all, okay? I'm able to tie knots, I'm able to keep this balloon afloat. If you guys keep me alive, I'm gonna be able to keep this balloon flying. You'll be able to land in the airport, not in the middle of a field, okay? Like, I don't know what you guys are doing, I don't know what skills you have, but I think my skill of just being able to like fly this balloon, pilot this balloon to safety is far more important than anything you could pull up, okay? I don't care if you're a doctor, I don't care if you're a master technician, I don't care if you're able to cook the greatest food for all of us. Like, my skills are the most important in this scenario, so you really need to save me, okay? Like, one of you guys is gonna jump off this balloon, but it's not gonna be me. So please, whatever you say, vote amongst yourselves. I'm safe, right? That sort of presentation. It's like a different vibe from selling yourself. Obviously, it's a bit more unrealistic because you're never gonna be in a situation where your hot air balloon is falling and literally the only way to save yourself is to throw someone overboard. That'd be illegal. They'd like fire the pilot for doing that. But yeah, Max, do you want to try this?
Okay, I can give it a shot.
Yeah. You can be creative, by the way. You can like make things up. Just like find reasons as to why you might want to not be thrown off the balloon, right?
I can make things up, okay.
Yeah, this is for survival, okay? This is life or death. No one's checking your resume afterwards to make sure you have these things.
That's good.
You just need to survive the hot air balloon incident.
I got you. So I actually have the cure for cancer, but I can only send it out if I survive. So if you want to save millions of lives, frankly, you shouldn't throw me off, because I feel like sacrificing one life or sacrificing one life at the cost of millions of others is not worth it.
Sure. Yeah, it's like, for example, you might be like, oh, you have family members with cancer, right? If you save me, I will personally deliver my first dose of cure to you, to your doorstep personally. I will make sure you and your entire extended family, every single person you care about, is safe from cancer now and forever. But only if you keep me alive. Right? That sort of pitch. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. So, what's your name?
Matt.
No, yours.
Ethan and Max.
Max. Okay, Max. Okay. You know, Max, I don't care if you have that knowledge with you. I really don't care. I just care saving myself and in this alone. That's why, you know, I have plenty of money, all of you, to give all of you if you keep me safe. And after you landed me safe, and I can give you whatever you want because I have lots and lots of money, and you can be rich after it. So you don't need to throw yourself out this balloon because I have plenty of money to keep you all safe after if you keep it myself alive. So think about it and just we don't have to fight. We don't have to just keep myself alive. If you have to fight against you, it's up to you, but keep myself alive. That's my message to you. Okay, guys? Just to let you know.
That's quite the offer. Hard to refuse, really. All right, who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go. Guys, I know you said you have the cure and you have the knowledge and you have the money, but I believe that I need to stay in this balloon because I can show my first aid skills. When we get down there, I don't know what we're gonna be in next. I have first aid skills. I can light a fire. I know how to light a fire. I have camping skills. I can also cook a meal from anything. We can eat grass. I know how to make grass edible. If somebody is injured, like I said, I have the first aid skills. I know how to pack a wound. I know how to bandage up. I have a little bit of knowledge of the human body. So, we may need money, but I don't see up here where we need the money. And the cancer cure, what if, we up here right now, we need the cure right now, but somebody could get a cut in any minute. Somebody could go hyperventilation. Somebody could be stressed out, and I think that I can use my skills to keep everybody afloat, calm, so that we can make it to the ground in one piece and mentally sane. So I think you should keep me on their balloon.
Yeah, you have money, you have medical skill, and you cancer. But I think priority is my father is pilot, and maybe it will help me in fix it balloon and save me and other people. And also I am a healthcare worker, so I will help the patient. Help the people to cure, and yeah. So you should make to me air balloon.
Why the balloon and save people? A double offer. Yeah, well, I think if we vote, I think I get thrown out because ultimately she has my skills. She duplicates my skills, so I have no reason to be here anymore. So, unfortunately, I'm on the floor now. You guys have no more seminar. You're all free to go. No more seminar. No more seminars. I'm gone now.
Can we take a break?
Sure, you can take a break if you want. There's no more planned content anymore. This was today's seminar because I was expecting, I think, 8 people to be able to do this with everyone, but given that we only have 3, there's a slide here about questions you might have. But if you want to like take a 5-10 minute break, go use the washroom, go talk amongst yourselves, like you can do that now. And then we come back, you can ask any questions you have for me, and then you're free to go, right?
Why don't you just do the questions now, so then.
Or you can do the questions now. If you have any questions, you can ask me like right now.
Maybe let them go washroom first. And
Well, I
then back
mean,
to us.
they're gonna, it's ending soon.
Yeah, like, whatever you want to do.
So, so we can like ask the questions, like, cause I don't know if she wants to be for questions.
No, I'm okay.
You okay? Yeah, so then maybe who's here can ask questions and.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay.
Are there any questions you guys have?
Well, one of the main questions that
Yeah.
I have is, like I mentioned before, I struggle with putting myself out there. So what like avenues do you suggest, when you're starting out? There's a lot of events that go on in the food industry. Most of them are paid, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess for them. But when you're just starting out, you don't really want to break the bank.
Right,
So
of course.
what is your suggestion? Putting myself out there and like I know Max, he mentioned social media, on internet. But what is your suggestions on putting myself out?
Like Max said, one of the best like free ways to put yourself out there is social media. I have a YouTube channel. It has grown to over 1,000 subscribers in the last year because I don't like post content specifically to attract people, but I do like music covers. And so after like some time, people will catch on if your content is good. Like I'm sure your food is delicious. If you find like, for example, a food related Instagram group, like a local Oakville group, they might have events they need to cater as well. So I think like besides just making videos where you cook and show your food, I think it might be interesting also to join a couple like groups. I'm sure you'll be able to find with a quick Google search like groups for people in the GTA, people in Oakville, people in like Halton, etc. And then there they'll have events. I'm sure they'll have like certain things that they do or certain events they advertise on these groups. And then when that opportunity strikes, you'll be like, but I'm available. I'll be able to make your food, right? I'll be able to do this for this price.
Yes.
So just it's not necessarily about attending very expensive conferences or going to events. It's about just putting yourself out there in the community, showing people around you, even telling your friends to tell friends, etc. That might work because you want to be able to establish like a network of people that know who you are, and I think that's possible without like paying for expensive conferences. Just
my friends love to cook. They want me to cook for them, so they don't want to give me to no one. They're like, no, I want to keep you to myself. Cook for me. So that's the issue right now I'm having. I'm like, tell everybody,
Yeah.
but nothing.
Do you have social media?
I do, yeah, I do, and I tried it, but what I find with the social media, a lot of people have their own interests.
yes.
And then, it's quicker to order out and to cater out to like the big companies. Like a lot of people now, they're doing like sandwiches and the quick stuff, for the events. And most people in their family have the person that cooks. So it's kind of difficult to get, somebody to pick up the phone and call, because there's usually that person in the family that does the cooking.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm working on it, the social, but it's not really getting me the,
And
attraction.
have you like analyzed the market and pay for the where to
Oh, you mean
advertise?
pay? Yes, so this is the part that I'm not ready yet. I don't wanna have to pay for.
But for 10, 20 or $50,
Yeah.
you really get to reach out like a very strategic market,
Okay.
and maybe the results could be different. Because when you do the free general advertise, it is completely different, and you might get like the common results.
Yeah.
But when you use the paid version and you like strategize your advertising, the like market, or I don't remember the specific name.
Yeah.
You can definitely get and reach you really want to get to.
Okay.
So that's
So
something
maybe
you
just
should-
drop a dime to get a million.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
like-
yeah,
okay.
that's the
Okay. I
key.
get it.
That's
Okay.
the key
Okay, I
behind
get it.
social media. You
Oh,
should, yeah,
okay.
definitely. It is a game changer when you really put money behind. But you have to be like before putting money, you have to analyze what type of customers you or people or market you want to reach out.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's
Okay.
and you don't have
Advertising.
to have like that much posts or that much things
Yeah.
behind. Just a well script.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been looking into avenues, like I've been looking into AI, and I've been looking into, because there's this one AI professional, she makes her videos with her AI avatar. So you don't really need to be in the videos now.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of new things that I've been looking into.
And you should be in different social medias.
Mhm.
For example, something to present videos, another one to just photos, another one just to connect with people with messages, another one. So each social media has
Yes.
a purpose. You have to design your strategy. So social media is very powerful and it really works to enhance your business, but you have to design like a strategy behind to take the most social media. I'm not a
You sound like a marketing
No, I'm
specialist.
not.
I want to hire you.
I just, I don't know, I like that kind of topics, but I really like that kind of entrepreneurship
Yeah.
world, but I am so afraid of doing it, but I have so much knowledge.
You
and
do.
But I just don't
want to pick your
feel
brain.
like doing it. So yeah,
Okay.
what type of food? What kind of food?
Well, right now it's Caribbean.
Caribbean.
But I'm trying to be adverse. So I'm learning, like, Mexican, I'm learning American traditional food, English food, little Korean, little Chinese. So I want to be adverse so that I can cater to more people. I did go to school for a little bit for like hotel management, hospitality management. I have a little bit of bartending skills, so I know how to if I need to be behind the bar, I know how to do that. So I just basically I try not to stick to one thing because I find that kind of puts you in a little box. And I don't want to be like that, so I'm try when I'm off, if I'm not being mommy, I try to learn, new things, how to make things from other cultures, just so that I can cater to the mass. Because I've seen, wings at a Portuguese spot, I've seen lasagna at a Jamaican spot. So if they're doing it, I need to also try and explore. Yeah. So it is definitely costly, so I try to be careful with what I try. Yeah. So I try, and of course, I have a free taster, my daughter. So even the 2-year-old likes it. Most of the time, everybody else will, because she's really picky. So I try things with her, and she and my family, they'll try my food. So I'm right now I'm in the Middle East, so I'm trying to learn like Mediterranean, Middle East Mediterranean. I'm trying to learn Mediterranean stuff, and how to do the breads. So I'm trying to learn how to bake my own bread and things like that. So so it's cool.
Really like
I try to stay busy. Yeah, I try to stay busy because it's very competitive right now. Very competitive, and I don't think AI will take away cooking. I don't do everything
No
else, but
cooking, no
cooking.
cleaning.
Yeah, the cleaning, it will not take
No
away those
cooking, no
things.
cleaning,
Yes.
no the hand.
Yeah, anything you need the hands to do,
Hands-on
yeah,
thing.
it won't, it won't take it away. So I'm using that to my advantage right now to get as much in here that I can, so that if I'm ever put in a spot, I'm ready. Cook for a million, I'm ready. So I'm right now. I'm at a stage where I'm learning.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Are there any other questions for me?
I want to know more about your process. I have a 7-year-old kid,
Yeah.
and I want him to start working on his
Public speaking?
public speaking. So, tell me more about your journey.
I started doing public speaking when I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old. Yeah, it starts when you have like a passion about something that you want to share. I'm sure your son has interests. We all have like things we're passionate about, things we want to share to the world. My first ever speech was about origami, actually. I just when I was 7, I enjoyed making origami. I would make paper cranes all the time. I can still make one from memory. It's just like, there'll always be something that you want to share to the world, and even if that thing seems trivial, seems meaningless, like as a young child, if you encourage your kid to just maybe you should share your interest to your peers. Maybe your friends will be interested in what you have to say. Maybe you want to write a speech about something, or just share something about yourself. And then from there, once your son, gets experience, talking about things he likes to do, you can then branch out to not more formal but different kinds of public speaking, right? I started persuasive public speaking debating when I was grade 7, grade 8, and then because I had experience.
Where did you start?
At an institution called EEC, but you can do it anywhere. Just search up debate classes, and then once you're middle school, early high school, you can just look into that.
Oh,
There-
okay.
There are options that are not very expensive, obviously.
We teach debate.
Yeah, we teach debate actually. If you want to come back to
You
us in
do?
a few years, we
At our
do teach
next year.
debate. I teach the high level classes. He teaches lower level classes, but we have pretty good reviews. If you want to come back to
I
us,
need.
yeah, come back to us.
Ethan,
Remember
share
remember
your
this brand,
It's called
NexYouth.
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 wow.
If you search it up.
share your slideshow talking about next
You can
use.
just go
Oh,
to
yes.
the NexYouth
Yeah.
order. You
You
can find
guys are amazing.
Yeah, we have.
Oh.
Here's a little thing explaining what we do. So me and Max, we're co-founders or chapter leaders of an organization called NexYouth. So we're a nonprofit. We're the nonprofit that backs this seminar, but also other seminars, programs, camps, tutoring classes, different these sorts of things across the GTA. So in Markham, Toronto, here in Oakville, etc. We do partnerships with community places like ACHEV, but also with high schools, with community centers, etc. And we teach things like debate. We teach multiple levels of debate. We teach public speaking. We teach coding. We do youth events, challenges where you have to innovate solutions to problems that we encourage kids to think about. We do mentorship programs. We sometimes run competitions for STEM, for coding. It's just a youth nonprofit that we're trying to build to teach kids the skills that we think they will need, that we benefited from, that they will also need to succeed in life. That's sort of
What age do you start?
what age do we start? We have students who are 12.
12?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
students who are quite young.
Okay, very good.
Something to think about, of course.
Yeah, this is good.
Do you have Instagram?
Do we have Instagram?
I don't.
Yes,
We do have an Instagram, yeah, but
you do have.
But I don't find you. So
it's very small.
We have a
You can
website.
check out our website.
We have
All the
Oh,
stuff
you
is
have
there.
website, okay.
Yeah.
So it's
NexYouth.org.
next.youth.org.
There's no T.
Oh, yes, I
There's
put
no
the
T.
T, okay, I put the T.
Yeah, there's no T.
Oh,
Otherwise
that's
you
right.
have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, there, okay. Oh, very nice, okay, so I will add that to my favorites.
just trying to help people, right?
Yeah,
That's like,
it's
that's the goal of
amazing.
this.
Yeah.
We have skills, you all have skills, we can all share skills together using our program, right? It's like, it's
Yeah.
nonprofit for a reason. We just don't think it's like very fair to charge exorbitant prices for our services. I think like what's more important is teaching people about what is important in life, teaching people these skills that I'm sure you all find useful. And like our students also find them useful, so yeah, that's why we continue doing this.
Oh, yes.
And have you, what is the, I know passion, I know talk about the topics you like most.
Yeah.
But what other kind of skills or resources do you believe are helpful to improve, and what have helped you?
Honestly, reading a lot actually helps. I read a lot when I was a kid. I still read a lot, but like being exposed to literature, so like for example, reading chapter books when they're young, reading like some nonfiction classics. I liked dystopian classics a lot when I was a kid, so like maybe you've heard of 1984, like Brave New World, Animal Farm. They're a little dense, I would say, but just exposing children to very, not like complex books, but just exposing kids to vocabulary through books they might enjoy. I don't know, like Harry Potter, for example, is a good series to look into. Like Percy Jackson, maybe you've heard of it. Just like trying to find books that kids will enjoy that also have words they might not understand, that might talk about concepts that are like new to kids. Being able to read and like learn the English language at a deeper level through reading also gives you more words to use when you give speeches, gives you more ideas for what you want to say as a person. I think like reading young and reading a lot does help you a lot with being more confident, because it gives you like a better, I'm struggling to find words for this, but it gives you a better like idea of what you want to say, and gives you more words, like more tools in the toolbox for you to express the same concepts. So like because you read a lot, you might have a bigger vocabulary, so you're able to like exchange words and use more like complex words when you give speeches, because obviously like different words have different meanings. If I say that I stated something to you versus I implored, or like I declare, I like murmured, these words all mean like roughly the same thing as the word say, but they all carry unique meanings that you can pick up on if you just like read and you learn about the words and you learn about different concepts that you might not know otherwise. Like I just do think that reading is very important for children. Like if you can get your son to enjoy reading and like read a little bit, like that'll do wonders both for school and for public speaking, becoming more confident, becoming more like well-spoken. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That
so.
makes sense, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes.
I mean, I'm just like 16 years old, right? I'm just trying to like share what my opinion on this is. I'm not a qualified
No,
professional on this topic.
I totally agree.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
what I
because
do, though.
it's the same.
Yeah.
When I was learning Spanish is my first language, so it's the same.
Yeah.
I remember like learning and reading, and it was one of the most effective ways to improve based
Yeah,
on what
exactly.
you said.
Yeah.
Like having different words, and as it's like the tool set, you can expand yourself by reading and learning different
Yeah,
ways
exactly.
to say things the same but different ways. So yeah, definitely. Thank you. That's amazing.
Any other questions?
Questions. I actually won't be able to attend tomorrow,
That's fine.
but definitely I'll be the next
Sure.
next days
Okay.
back. So that just to
That's fine.
let you
Obviously,
know.
like this is a free seminar, right? I'm not like pressuring you all to come to every single day, but I do hope you find it useful enough where you come back. You're like, oh, this Ethan guy, he knows how to talk. Maybe I can learn how to talk like him, right? Hopefully that's the sort of thing that you're getting after like an hour and a half of my seminar.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't feel like this is a waste of time. Like hopefully I'm encouraging you all like on your own accord to come back as often as you can this week. We might run seminars in the future. You might see me come back here, like see me come back in other places. I'll put up ads if I do run other seminars on similar topics. And if you want, you can tell your friends, you can come back yourself. Like this is obviously like a first thing here. This is our first venture into making like seminars for adults, seminars for like this community at this center, but If this goes well, I think it's going quite well right now. We'll certainly consider having like me, Max, having other people that are parts of our organization come in and also give seminars. So it is something to look out for. If you want to like save the name NexYouth, you'll be able to see what we're doing, and that's like maybe it'll be useful for you and your children or your friends. Yeah.
I have another question
Yes.
regarding your
Organization.
organization. Do you have any, or do you follow any method, any methodology or framework behind your
Teaching.
teaching? Yes.
I specialize in teaching debate and public speaking, so I'm not like completely sure what the other instructors do, but for me, I do follow a certain like rigor in the way I structure my classes. So normally in my like advanced level debate classes, these kids have been debating for quite some time, so they know how to debate. So every week I give them a debate topic that I think will challenge them in a unique way, or like in order that I think is like least complex to most complex as they improve as debaters throughout my class. So for example, the first topic might be something really simple, like, do you think we should ban zoos? Or do you think school uniforms should be mandatory? And that sort of like challenges kids to think about these topics on a very basic level. They're like, oh, these are things I've thought about before. Maybe I can give my opinion on that. And then as you progress, we might talk about like world issues. We might talk about like romantic relationships, for example. We might talk about hypothetical scenarios, like would you rather take a pill that makes you like not feel sad anymore, never feel sad anymore? It's like these topics come later on because I believe as an instructor that kids need a certain like level of experience first with these simpler topics to be able to talk about like more complex ones. I know that the classes Max teaches are also ones where kids will learn about firstly like how the debate format in Canada works. So there's different debate formats in Canada. There's British parliamentary and there's like Canadian parliamentary, so they learn about these things. And then they might learn like different basic debating techniques, how to make an argument, how to refute an argument. And then they'll learn about like different topic subject areas. I watched a seminar by one of Max's like sort of not like employees, but one of the instructors at our institution. He gave a seminar about philosophy actually as one of the last classes in his like session. Haim gave a topic about like deontology or whatever. Yeah, like eventually like we do have a method. Maybe it's not like a strict curriculum, but I think like generally the quality control here is quite good, which means we're able to produce like a curriculum where kids do learn more and more progressively as they go through our system for all classes. Again, I'm not really sure what like STEM instructors do, what coding instructors do, but for debate and public speaking, I am sure that we have like a method to teach kids like what they need to learn in a sequenced order. So it's not like, oh, day one, we're gonna do differential calculus. Day two, we're gonna learn like addition and subtraction, right? None of that stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood.
And then for all the instructors on the beginner level, I feel like beginner level is one of the most important levels to consider because it's where new students are coming in. This is my methodology because I've been teaching, I was teaching by myself before we founded NexYouth, but just working with students, working with people young and who are unfamiliar with the topic, because I taught public speaking, I still teach public speaking and debate. One of the most important methodologies or approaches I do is a first principles approach. So what first principles is, if you guys don't know, it's basically thinking or explaining things from what you know to be true as opposed to making any assumptions. So for example, I also apply this to my personal learning. When I'm in school, when my teacher teaches me something new about maybe like science or math, I don't automatically say, okay, I believe that now. I have to first prove it. I want them to explain that to me from what I already know. And I find this to be true for learning absolutely anything, and it's a great way of learning because then you go from, and especially for kids who are already very curious, you go from this accepting and just automatically believing anything an adult tells you or your teacher tells you to challenging it and saying, okay, but why is that true? Why is it that way? And then once you're able to explain it from that first principles level, from like, okay, we have the rule of 3 in public speaking because it's what we're naturally prone to do, right? In psychology, we memorize 3 things easier. Or maybe I could say, we pause in public speaking, and pausing is good practice because it not only lets you breathe, but it lets your audience understand what you're saying. Like all of these things, when you explain them it's pretty intuitive at that level. So I want to rely heavily on that intuition as opposed to having my students be like, okay, I don't really understand this, but I'm just gonna believe it to be true and just practice it without actually understanding why they're doing that or, what's the rationale behind it.
being like not anymore youth, that youth, is there any like program for this age, like 40 something age, for regarding the